Good morning, Dr. Brad. I cleaned my coffee cup, as you know.
I did not, but it's not noticeable.
It's not too noticeable. I've already managed to get some drips on mine in 5 minutes, but all right.
Impressive.
So how are you this morning?
Doing well.
This is a working session. We are working on embodiment still. I am just about to talk to Dr. Brad about some thoughts about the storytelling. And I didn't say the date. It's Saturday, June 6th, 2024.
It is Saturday the 8th, actually.
Oh, that's an 8. Okay. I was just rubbing my eyes. I can blame it on that. So I told you I love you lately.
Thank you, Kurt.
So back to this. So what I've been worried about is I want to talk about what we call constant relations, right? Which is basically the
Triangles.
Exactly. It's vectors or relations and triangles, right? I mean, it's triangles all the way down. And so I want to be able to talk about that. And it's like, where do you put that? Because I kept getting frustrated because since we've come up with the physics, that's clearly the right way to tell the story. You're building people in from the bottom up, right? So where do I bring this in? And so what I figured out over the past couple of days is that it's really only makes sense when you get to language. And so I can bring the triangular relationships in, maybe, but I certainly want to bring in other words, a ternary logic. But to get into meaning, I have to bring, how we represent information in our own minds and together, how to visualize information. It's relationships, vectors, right? This thing leads to that thing, which is what neurons do and what artificial intelligence does, and everything else, right? It's just one really things as you have a point of view, right? You have a reference, which is a dot. And then you have a relationship between references, which is a line, and everything else is just keep playing that game. Right? I'm watching your face now because I'm wondering if I've lost you or you're just letting me.
No, not at all. I'm
okay.
Just hanging with you until you hit your arc.
Okay, so I wanted to put that in there because and the problem was that there's too much I need to talk about that is in that context at various points. And so the question is, where do you bring that in so that you can talk about it? Because we use relations in what we're doing today from mass all the way up, right? It's everything through to cooperation, right? Right?
Yes. I have a suggestion that I would like to bring forward.
Okay.
That if we look at the construction of embodiment,
yep,
and we divide it into 2 bits, animals and humans, okay? Then we can interject the physics in the middle and the representations that animals can make that allows us to discern the relationships.
Right. So yes, you work from
and then we can introduce the rational animals embodiment and its representations in that context.
Okay, can I make
representations spring from?
Yes.
That's and I don't know exactly the dicing of it, but
okay,
it's like,
so you just gave a great example of how many ways can we tell this fucking story?
yes.
Right. It's and because everything is related to everything, the question is, which point of view do you want to start from?
That's right.
And so this is what I wanted to talk about again. And I realize the audience says, well, why do you spend some, they don't say this, but this is what I think.
It's going on in the back of their mind, that it's the quiet part.
Why do you yeah, exactly. Why do you keep talking about that? Well, it's because the story has been the problem. In other words,
The narrative that we're generating, yes.
right, because you've got to reduce it to what's accessible, right? Because when you look at this, we can look at it as well. If you just know these 6 things, well, yeah, great, you'll know those 6 things, but that's like knowing knowing a few laws without understanding what they mean in application and how they fit together into some system. So if I said, well, if you understand uh, uh, if you understand testimony or reciprocity, demonstrated interest, the three laws of cooperation, and the 3 dimensions of cooperation, and the 3 means of influence, and the 3 levels of scale, and the 3 sequences of civilizations, then okay, well, that's all there is. What the fuck does that mean?
Right.
I mean, you've just told you how the universe works, right? I mean, that's the social universe. If I start with, well, there's just uh, there's the universe can only uh, concentrate into matter or dissipate into space, and one's negative, we're going to call one negative, one positive, and the only way to be able to do the positive is to be able to find cooperation between positives that solve the problem of amplitude that we call quanta, right? In other words, to create stable equilibrium. And so, I just look at this and I'm saying, well, I mean, if I tell you that, well, everything derives from that. But what?
Right.
Right? I mean, so, it is too hard. So the story matters. And so since we settled on this, I felt good. But it doesn't mean that within the greater arc of it, it's like, okay, what are we trying to once we have that major arc, there are still the problems of, well, there's like the first principles, right, which is the physics, the embodiment, and the behavior, right? I mean, you have those 3 scales. I mean, three basic things, which is basically scale: the physical world, the cognitive world, and the demonstrated behavior of the world of scale. So you have that, and then there's the problem of the 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 logics, right? Which is language, logic, decidability. What just happened to you? And then you have language. Hold on, let me pull it up again because I'm trying to do too many things in my head at one time. This one, I go that, and then I go that, and then I go this, and then I must have cut it. I cut it off. Oh, interesting. I cut my own work off. So you have uh, the problem of the logic, the problem of decidability, which would be the representation, language, and methods, and then law applied to these contexts and built in these constitutions. You have this hierarchy that you have to explain it to, so you can say, yeah, this is why the Constitution exists as it is, because it's just science, right? I mean,
Right.
you told the story, so we want to build it up. In like I said before, I started out with working from ethics outward, and I got people early and then lost them, right? Because they didn't have the foundations to expand beyond the simple level of the ethics. And then I worked from the logic, which is how my way was to work. And then I can't get anybody involved because they can't understand.
They can't keep up with you,
They
Kurt.
can't keep up with it. And so once I talked to you and we decided on the physics, all of a sudden now people can understand this because it's building all the way. But I still have the problem of we've moved the complicated shit to the end, where all of a sudden you have all this real world context
Yes.
to put it together in. And so you can understand representation, logic, and the method, right?
Right.
Um, so, so that's where I got to this week is is um, is feeling that we've really quite a bit got it. And that last piece, I think, was feeling where representation went in that series. I feel that. So it's really, why do these little subtle things trouble me so much, Brad? But it's like, this isn't, you have to have it, but where do you put it? And every time I start with language first, that's the easy thing because I can talk about dimensions of language. But then I gotta go, how do I have to go back into representation?
No, I like representation first.
Yeah, because it's visual, you can start with a visual.
Well, it's like this is like I said with the animals.
Yep.
How does the nervous system represent things?
Right, right.
And then we talked about it, it's discovery, indexing, and memory.
Yeah.
Right.
You just roll that off the top of your head again.
Yes,
That was brilliant. Okay, thank you.
I try to earn my keep. The issue is this: the frog can represent. He understands the stable relations because he has a representation of them in his mind. It's like, that's a threat, I'm jumping.
Yes, exactly.
And so that's why I say it's operating at the representation begins very early in animal development. And so we can talk about it very early in our neurologic embodiment discourse.
Well, that's the thing. We can, right? We can, I see what you're saying. Wait a minute.
So it's like this, it's like you can talk about basic representation, and then we can circle back later and talk about representation at a more abstract level, leading to language.
Right. So it's how, I see.
So you interject like basic representation, which is, it can be interjected we've already crossed that line where we can talk about representation in a most basic sense, that the nervous system
Right.
creates representations of the real world. And then later on, we can talk about whatever we want in between. We can say representation at the next level of abstraction, which leads to language.
No, you just answered the question. See, that's why I talk to you, Brad. That's why you are effing amazing. Is if I can just run my idea by Brad.
He'll understand.
What?
He'll understand what I'm trying to say. It's not one lily pad too far.
Well, also, I will make certain associations when I'm doing that, but then you make additional associations, and your associations are good because your depth is your depth with this is so good that you make really good associations like the ones you just have made for the past 10 minutes. So it's not like when I talk to most people is that their associations won't be deep enough to help me with anything, or I've actually got to do the opposite, which is their associations are so divergent that I have to do more explanation to get them to understand the consistency. Anyway, yeah, my eyes are burning, so it's got to be the allergy pill time. All right, so where did you go, Brad? You disappeared.
Marco.
I can see your glorious face. There we go. So I'm gonna share my screen.
Huh?
And I found I actually have all the buttons. The buttons say share screen, pause, stop recording, and everything. I mean, what are we gonna do? We have one last thing to pick up about, right?
I'm gonna look for an update.
So share screen there we go.
There we go. Chapters.
Right. Why did you turn? Oh, I see why. I don't like that. That's not good. You have to click this. You can't, I still have to go manually tell it to stop doing that. All right, there we go.
It looks like representation goes after incentives. before
Okay, you
behavior.
just jumped ahead again. Like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is always ahead of the rest of the sleigh.
Oh, and I got worse. You have 2 3s in there.
1, 2, 3. That's what was making
Sorry,
4,
Kurt.
5, 6. I don't know if you can see this all or not. Anyway, we have this done so far, right? And now we're working down into, right? We have physics. We
Yeah.
haven't visited, but we have that done. We have, we're working through this and we have that all laid out. We've done this like a
Yes.
couple of times now, so that's not hard. We have reviewed this before we did the behavior. I did that with you and you got it, but I mean, the language, the methodology, etc. And so I just felt like this,
Yeah.
you go, does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so, but what you're saying is we can presage it in various sections.
Anywhere you want, you can tap on it as a touchstone and elaborate upon it wherever you like.
Okay. So if we go up to our theme, stable relations, indexing, I think we would add it here, which is
Yeah, I think so.
representation, right?
Yeah. That's a modeling, right?
Well, I think that's a great question. Representation versus modeling. I think what I'm trying to do here is the dot vector triangle
Yeah.
thing. And I'm trying to keep no, that's right. Right, and we just cover both, right? We cover both, right? We cover both the because this is the principle, right? This is the principle.
Yes.
This is the principle, which is what we're trying to teach directly. And modeling,
Modeling is operational.
right, is the operation. Okay, does
Mhm.
that make sense? And then I can make that a 5 before you even catch it. How do you like that? Before you said something. I don't believe that's like my win for the day.
Well, congratulations, Kirk.
Then if I go back to here, then we'll learn by this thing. Whoops. Why do I have this goofy? Oh, I know. Doing it again, Brad. It's biting me on the whole highlighting thing. So I feel we are Why are those things? Can you explain something to me? Why is that? Why are these spaced apart farther than those are? Did you do that? Is this one of your cunning tricks?
Maybe.
There we go.
There you go.
So this is, and so we have our themes, our chapters, and our section outlines. And we have, this was a physics, embodiment. And I
There's
call it
representation.
behavior. Give me a second. And then we go into the logic and decidability, right? Which was the logic is representation, language, and methods. But what you're saying is I can presage representation.
You already have it in there
Where?
in embodiment, last paragraph, last line of embodiment. Integrative faculties. Keep going to the right. Yep.
Yeah, but I haven't. This is where this is. I'm just agreeing with what you were saying. Is you can presage it here, but you don't have to go into. We don't have to. I mean, because logic is the problem with the logic is it's abstract.
Yes.
Right, and so it's we're going through all this stuff now. We're creating these abstractions, right?
Yes.
Turning your logic to stable relations, representation, and even within stable relations, we're talking how you said it, stable relation detection. I can't remember how you said it earlier, but it was the right way to say it. Representation.
Discovery. I don't remember the pattern I said. Sorry.
Just, it's too many ways to start with discovery. I don't know.
I know.
So before I lose my train of thought,
Yes.
so we've got the high level abstractions that we want to get across, right? We've got but we can construct them from the bottom up, right?
Yes.
All right. Because basically what is logic is in the best sense we mean is language, right? And decidability is the result. So when I look at this, I'm like, okay, this story, I can tell this story.
Yes.
Right? I can tell the story. And we can presage embodiment representation rather. And we can do it as clearly as one of the messages that
Yes.
that we're trying to get across consistently. Okay, now that I've gone down that rat hole.
I've got my 3 things is detection, indexing, and prediction.
Thank you. Where are you? And what?
Prediction.
Did you call it detection?
Sure.
I like that. That's a beautiful little cycle there. Okay. All right. Okay, so that's what I was that was the decision I needed your help with this week is this session, which was to clarify where to put that in the story and to figure how it worked in. So now I feel good about it. All right, next. Okay, now I got to shift gears and my eyes will stop watering. Why are you here? Quit. And why are you here? Quit. And why are you here? Come on, what is the deal here? Oh, okay. I'm making a template in of making it converting the PowerPoint over so people who are using Keynote can use it.
Ah,
And my screens are out of order again. I hate that that happens.
desktop number 13. Good Lord.
Yes, well, you know, my life can finally be orderly. All right. Okay, so now I feel good. Let's go. You can still see this outline, right?
Yes.
Embodiment. Now I got to shift gears.
All right.
Allergy pill to kick in. I have these coasters. This is my grandma when she was young. She just built her little house.
What was that?
That was my grandma when she was young, and she just built her little house.
Hmm.
And this is my mom when she's in little girl in a dress. I think it's like one of those Catholic things. She had these coasters made of these old pictures, so I can.
Cool.
Very different. Oh, very interesting to see the contrast between my mother's farmers, right? They're farmers. I mean, they're not like peasant farmers. I mean, real farmers, right? And my father's rather privileged upbringing, and that the duality of looking to those two families was fascinating to me, because like on my grandmother's side, there are still those kind of people, not in the family, but that they know,
Yes.
that are basically the kind of lumberjack that goes into the woods, and those are scary fucking people, dude. I mean, when you think the problem we have today is you don't have experience with what people used to be like. You know, I mean, our feral humans are urbanites, right? I mean, they're not like, you know, and they're a problem, but those people, I mean, they murder each other in the woods if you get out of hand, and nobody ever finds you, right? I mean, so you meet some of those people because you're just interacting. You're like, well, I don't, I'm not part of. I don't know where you're from or what planet.
Yeah, they're no nonsense.
I don't want to be there.
With low tolerances.
And they mix up French and English a lot, and then and their French is also, you know, it's Canadian French is sort of like how American English, especially Southern, right, is a lot closer to, I mean, Scottish. You know,
Oh, yeah.
Scottish today sounds a lot more like Old English, right? Right, it's a little more dramatized. Well, the British moved on from that, right? But Americans, because we had so many Germans, we're actually closer to how English was spoken prior, at least certainly prior to 1800. Right. And so you then the same thing is with the Canadians, the French Canadians, Maine, and you know, is this, you know, those they speak Old French by comparison, which is fascinating, but they do, and you can't fucking I mean, if you take, I studied French for a year, and I'm like, I still don't understand what the fuck my relatives are saying. Or is the other way around, is that the way my relatives spoke was different from what I learned, what is being taught in school.
Yes.
And my French teachers, you have such good pronunciation. Well, I mean, that's I grew up with these fucking people. Honestly. Anyway, all right. So, but it's just they were just alien to me because I really associate with my father's side. I don't associate with my mother's side, even though I consider myself a product of my mother. All right, so let's get back to work and stop digressing on a little. I was trying to give myself a subconscious ability to switch gears. All right, so we covered embodiment, and this is just you got embodiment, then homeostasis, which is maintaining equilibrium. We have little bits in here that we should cover, but we'll do the. We seem to be better at doing those last after we've solved the hard problems.
Right.
We have not finished how neurons survive, compete, organize, and prune. That seems like something I should have been able to do on my own, and I was not successful at. There's some, these are mostly notes in here. We did what are they transmitting, how are they organized in division of labor, how they're organized into layers, the result of that organization, how they work together, what's the resulting information they produce, how we convert those measurements by neurons into something we call perception.
Right.
Right. Oh, now I know what I was thinking about this week. And so how those are, they're organized, right? And by competition for coherence, and the result of pattern recognition, adaptation, and learning. And then we said, okay, those, so we went from neurons to neurons to perceptions to senses. And so now we've got the senses, the next scale, and we go through the sensory faculties, right? Then we said, okay, what's the next scale? Well, we've got to integrate all these senses, right? And so that we cover how those faculties work.
There's your representation. You just passed it.
Yes. Okay, so that's probably what we'll work on today. Yes, that is what I wanted to work on today. Creating the self model, creating the world model. Indexing, we've got that whole back there was what we want to fill. Got to do memory, predictions from it, self-reflection. I think we did intuitions okay, right? Yeah, we did intuitions.
Yes.
Right, and then we did the subconscious, which I thought was fascinating that we did that so well. We have a little cleanup to do with on incentives. And what is this part? Right. And then we just basically summarize at the highest level with global state. And then we talk about behavior, right?
Yes.
And how this behavior is resulting in the consciousness as the overlying process, and our responses from that spectrum of consciousness, and then how we adapt the world and ourselves to the world over time. Didn't realize we'd done this so thoroughly. Oh my God, this is really quite good. the next section would be variation,
Yes.
right? And then how we would bring it to Vitruvianism. We need to obviously probably break this up here. Right, this, I would say, do we break, is this a break? Don't know the answer. Yeah, we want to get into all those differences. I think that's going to take a little space. And so my concern was that this summary should go, in other words, just like we've broken this up into sections, right? This is assembly, domains, whatever, right? It's hard to break up. It's hard to break up this stuff. We could break it at, like, say, we could break it at models, consolidate, right? We could break it here,
Yes.
right? And make another chapter. Is this a section break? This is. Going here, behavior, enactment. This could be 5, right? Just feels like we want to summarize. We definitely want to summarize this. It just feels like, okay, and I know I've asked, maybe this is, it's too early to ask this question. I don't know. When we get into we've done intelligence here, right? Because that's a physical property.
Yes.
Right. When we get into variation, we're talking about personality, morality, etc. Right? That's what we're talking about. So,
Okay.
all right, I feel like, wait a minute, I just might have talked myself into it. I feel like, you know, sex sex differences, personality differences, moral differences, right? Those dimensions that I cover, right? The various dimensions, and development, right? If I covered those things, that's not a huge section. I mean, the sex differences would be made into one, but we don't want to go there, right?
Right.
Like right in this point. So it feels like that I should summarize Vitruvianism before we go into variation. In other words,
Yeah, that's fair.
does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. Because it's like, it makes more sense because it's more general of a statement.
Yes.
So you might put it in. Yeah.
Like, I've broken this up because I wanted to keep these chapters reasonable, right? These sections reasonable. It feels like we should break up this, and it's, excuse me, we should break up this for the same reason. Because I just like drawing the conclusion, the Vitruvian conclusion here.
Yes, I think that it's a good place for it, and then you can talk about variations within that stack subsequently.
Correct. So I could then just do boom. New doc. Come on, baby, you can do it. Move you here. Come on, you can do it. I wish it would not help me so much.
I understand.
And then I could put, so what do we call this? Do we call this embodiment?
Yes.
And then variation.
Yeah, embodiment ends in Vitruvianism.
Yeah. What are you doing to me? What are you doing to me? And now we go over here. Variation. Now we have to, what do we call this? Hmm. How do we handle it here? Yeah, see, I was trying to keep these at X number of words. So then we just do basically the same thing. Laws, three cognitive laws. Let's see if it can figure that out. No, doesn't want to. The laws three colon. Come on. I don't know. What do you set at? Order. Let's make it 10. I don't know. Let's do it like that. So embodiment. Oh no, did I do this? Did I do this again? Did I already decide this and not?
Huh.
I'm a fucking idiot. Do you mind? Does it embarrass you to work with somebody who's this ridiculous on a regular basis?
Apparently not enough to cause me to change my behavior.
Oh, You know, you're a very forgiving man.
Thank you, sir.
I was thanking God for you the other night. It really was, honestly.
Nice.
I'm not even making it up.
No, and I'm not thinking there's a better authority to bear that witness to.
Like, this man has inhuman patience.
I sometimes wonder if it's not a flaw. I'll tell you what little story because my pond, I've been working on my pond for more than a year probably.
Uh-huh.
Okay. After having killed all my fish accidentally by trying to get rid of the algae which was infesting the place. And I've been running it. I figured out my error of the pumps and it finally has achieved some form of clarity, which I was impressed by how slow it took, how long it took for the pumping system to do that.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, it's amazing how slow it works. And it's just totally not professional at all. But it's amateurish and it gets there. You just have to be patient. And I'm like, man, it's slow. I'm patient enough to let it be. I'm like, wow, it worked.
Okay, but did you have fun working on the problem?
it, I enjoyed it well enough and I let it be. And it's operating as a background operation and it worked. I'm like, okay, that worked.
Now, what are you going to do about the fish problem?
I've got some little fish because I had a mosquito problem. So I had to get some mosquito fish to get rid of the mosquitoes. And they did their job. And so they're living in there. And now I'm cleaning up the bottom of the pool, which was the plan all along for the last year. Now I can see it. And now I'm beginning that process. And then I will get bigger fish. That's my plan.
I just did something stupid, I think.
No, I think it's right.
No, I don't know what I just did
So,
because
oh,
where is it?
there it is.
I'm gonna jump off a bridge soon.
Uh-oh.
That's gonna take that as you're confused. No, that's that. Yes. Why are you there? Oh, because we've already done that. You know, I forget. We already did that.
Yes.
Cognitive laws. The variation is there now. Yes. So I can go back to bringing you up. Please stop bothering me. Duplicate. Hey, now I can go back here, go back to the physical laws. We do nice work, dude. All right, so I can check on this now. This now goes, you go under formal laws. So the laws, 6 formal laws. Oh my God. So I'm gonna have to do this the hard way. I only have one more thing to fix.
Okay,
Or is the other one? This one. You ever look at this and say, we're really doing all that? Are we high?
I can't attest.
What kind of nut cases do this kind of thing? I mean, it's one thing. I didn't know I was a nutcase doing this.
I know. I merely discovered it later.
But and the difference is you joined this process knowing that this was nutcasery.
It's not very wise. Look at that.
It's actually wrong. I don't know why that's in that order, but hey, we'll just go with it. Talking to Rudyard has been putting out incredible content lately. He and his team, absolutely amazing. Waterfall has been cutting out extraordinary content. And thank you, Rudyard. You mentioned me on his interview with Ed Dutton the other day. And so it's interesting because I have a theory of history,
Yes.
right? Right. But it's a theory of history that explains the evolution of civilizations.
Yes.
But that's not the same as knowing all the freaking history.
Right.
Right, which he does. Now I know a lot of history, but not compared to him. I just know that I know because I have a theory of history, when he says something, because I've studied basically the same stuff, not in the level of detail he has. I know he's right all the time, which is fascinating to me. But the problem is the way I look at it is, and he says this, he says, history is accessible by anyone willing to read.
Yes.
And the problem is that everything beyond history is increasingly less accessible.
What do you mean by beyond history?
So you don't have to have a laboratory or all you need to study history is books.
Yes.
Right, that's it. You don't need to have other things. It's not expensive.
No.
Right, it's time consuming, but it's not expensive. But a lot of studies require tutoring, right? They require people to explain these things to you. They require exercises, right? They require other things that bring it about. And I think it's interesting because Will Durant, of course, who is a devourer of information, who was a devourer of information, and who was one of the best expositors of history. He said that he kept saying that he studied philosophy first, but there are no answers there, which
Right.
in which he says he's quite a poetic. If you read Durant, he's quite poetic in the way he speaks. But I studied philosophy, but I found no answers there. And he says, but when I studied history, all the answers are there. Right? Man is there in history. You don't have to, if you read history, you're reading man, right? For what he is. And I thought that was quite fascinating. But to break the world down into the atomic components that we have, that's a very different understanding of history. And you can't do it just by reading, right? You have to have enough external knowledge to be able to put it into place. So I think is why it's it's interesting what younger guys and older guys are find interesting. It's like the younger guys, they all love the sex differences thing, which I think is interesting, but it's but you know, I don't consider, I mean, I consider the epistemology to be the real secret sauce, right?
Okay.
And but they love the sex differences stuff, and
You know,
I'm like,
the younger guys are interested in the younger girls.
yeah, exactly.
It's like the older boys are they did that part, and now they're interested in more abstract functions.
Yes, yes. But listening to him and the younger guys talk about what their motivations are, what they thought, and how they felt that they were misled by their parents into what the future, the false promise of a future that could never be.
This is an interesting question because it's like it goes to the boomers and the misleading of the boomers,
Yes.
which was based on what I call the post-war liberal settlement, which is the lie that built the last half of the 20th century, which is
Yes.
they were necessarily misled and misled their offspring by proxy,
Yes.
and it's not their fault. It's just behavioral economics,
Right. And
which is
so
they did the best they could given the incentives that they were given
exactly.
that seemed to work at the time that did not scale as that promised.
Right. So it's like, yeah, anyway, we've been over this. So this arc, which I find fascinating. So I'm listening to them, and it gave me cause. I'm like, what was I thinking at the time? You know, the difference is that I wanted power,
Right?
and they don't think of the world like that. They don't think of the world as obtaining power. They think of the world themselves as being powerless. And so they didn't study power. So, you know, I say I studied history, but I actually studied arms. I
Yes.
studied weapons. Then I studied military use of weapons. Then I studied history. Because why? Because I don't know. I wanted power. I guess the power of defense, the power of to change the world I lived in, the power to make a to alter the world around me to be more suitable. But and so I was trying to think. So it took me a while to get to, well, what is weird about what these young men are saying? Is that the Besmanovian Soviet explanation of the Soviet, which is demoralization. But
Yes.
I see that. So to me, it's rendered them powerless. Not only do they not believe they don't even conceive of the world as power. Now, when I object to the abuse of Nietzsche's terms, I object to the use of will to power, like as power over others, right? Or
Yes.
too many people think it, but it's really not. It's agency. It's the will to be the best you can be, or the most you can be. Life is,
Yes.
will take big bites, moderation is for monks, kind of thing. And so it's disturbing to me now that I've noticed it, that's the demasculinization, the demoralization is the loss of the heroic ambition of power, not power over others, but the power of and with the self to bring about change in the world.
Okay.
And they feel powerlessness. And so the demoralization always bothers me, because it's like in that psychological frame that
Yes.
that is, you know, I'm like, I'm not a bitch. I don't have a vagina. I don't, you know.
And so
I said that just to get a reaction out of you, and it
I was
flopped.
going to tell you this is a funny thing. So the fellow that was talking to me, the patient, he's roughly my age. that the police said they were instructed to not have less than 6 officers to confront him,
Yes.
right? Well, he had the police officer in his face calling him a punk, who later was, right before he was being booked, he clocked him in the head and banged his head into the bars and knocked him out. And so he told me this. This is him, his confessional, because he's telling the 6 police officers came out of the booking area to later beat him up. But he said this. He says, "I may be a punk, but I'm no bitch." And I'm like, I said, he's all right, man. But so it's like this is the issue is this is demoralization requires rallying. That's all it requires.
Yeah.
And I see that as part of our job here.
Yeah.
Which is to rally the boys and get the boys to feel like they can have power. And therefore, you show them the mechanism by which they may gain that power and help them to organize for that power.
Well, exactly. And I think it's what bothered me in 2000 is I'm like, I don't understand. What the fuck is wrong with you? You know, you guys, right? And it's like they're bitches. I mean, I'm a nerd, right? Right? When I was a nerd, you had to fight because you were a nerd, right? That meant that you were smart. That mean that you got attention, right? That you know, etc. And so what happened was it provoked the other guys, right, that were not doing so well, and so they would bully you, right? So what's the way you stop bullying? You hit first and hard, right? That's the only way you get out of it. And so I was in wrestling, so I wrestled people to immobility.
Yes.
I choked them till I almost got in trouble for it. But I mean, when you turn people blue, the teachers and the principals start to say,
that's a bit much.
that's a bit much. You turned him blue. And then, the kids are trying to pull you off you, right? Pull you off. Poor Billy Hennessy. I don't know where he is today. I should look him up. But he's gone blue. And so, but the thing is, if you have this reputation as the good kid who's right, and that you get picked on a
That can
lot,
turn kids blue.
right? But they don't punish you.
Right.
Right. They don't punish you because you're just defending yourselves. Where today, they punish you for defending yourself. And so it's like, so there's no masculine need to take power, and with it, which is what, here comes my punchline, the responsibility that comes with power. And I'm like, God damn it, is it really that simple? And I think I got the use of the demoralization.
Yes.
Is I think that's absolutely true. It's how they work. It's just undermining.
Yes.
But I didn't like the term because I'm like, I'm not, I'm not a bitch, right? You're not going to demoralize me. Why? Because I don't think in those terms. I think in power. And I'm like, okay, so now I've got a framework to understand what's wrong with the younger generation, is they've been, what?
Kids are all right, man.
What?
The kids are all right.
What does that mean?
I have it on good authority. It's the WHO. The kids are all right.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I made the wrong associations.
So it's like this. It's just a matter of rallying the kids. That's all it is. Because it's like, okay, it's a learned behavior, it's learned helplessness.
Okay, great. Let's cover this topic. This is going to make a great cutout, by the way.
You want to make it short?
Well, I mean, we're in the middle of this goddamn thing. I'll just cut it out.
Okay.
So
You want to stop sharing?
Yeah, stop sharing.
Okay. That's your cue right there to cut it out.
So I'm discussing with you, Brad, just in case we cut this section out, so we can give it as a short. Discussing what I learned talking to Rudyard's and his historian and his other people, and because Rudyard's very smart, and it's like I can talk to Rudyard, right? I mean, it's very rare to find somebody else who understands history and isn't wrong. Right? He's not trying to. He just will be empathic with everybody at any point in history. I mean, he will take their position, which explains the world as their struggle through it, which is why he's such a great historian, because he's not pitching ideology. He doesn't take history as ideology. He just takes historiology as basically seek to understand.
Yes.
Right? He's always seek to understand the bishop. So then what he does that is he says he applies that history to today, and
Yes.
he's because so he sort of moved the direction. He's moving in the direction of a philosopher, right? He's moved from historian to basically a public intellectual, and
Yes.
and I suspect he'll move from a public intellectual to a philosopher, which is of course why I encourage him so much. So and I advocate for him so much. So I'm listening to but he's helping me understand their discussion with about young men, which they really get, right? I use social media for research, but
Yes.
they use social media for research. In other words,
Yes.
they know what the hell they're doing. I mean, these guys know what they're doing, right? Right. And so, and Rudyard, of course, is extremely intuitive about the Gestalt,
Yes.
especially of his generation. So so I'm listening to them and I'm like, what's wrong? Something, because I didn't think about what they thought about when they were young. I thought about power.
Yes.
My generation thought about power. That wasn't a problem. By the time I got grown up, it was the Wall Street level of yuppie power, which wasn't all that good, honestly, right? It was the make money by any means.
Yes.
Right. But it was we felt the ability to obtain power and to exercise power. And we felt the heroic moral obligation to do so. In other words, it was status fulfilling to seek power. It's not power over others, it's power to do, to make things happen, to be successful, to work with to get other people to agree with you, to make change, bring about change. Right? Change doesn't mean change like I gotta change the world. It could be I just want to change. I want more. I want to do more, have more.
Yes.
Influence.
Yes.
And so what I realized, and it's been rolling with me because we meet regularly. It's been rolling with me for a while that these guys they're not even aware of power.
Oh.
It's not like they're just powerless, as that the idea of power isn't there. Like the silly people would call it confidence. It's not necessarily a lack of confidence. It's just the idea that it's possible, which we tie to demoralization. And I don't like demoralization because I'm like, I don't understand. I'm not a bitch, right? I mean, I don't have that problem. But I actually couldn't understand how you wouldn't search for power, which I think I told
Wow.
before this cutout. I said is, I studied arms first, weapons
Yes.
first, and then I studied military weaponry, and then I studied warfare, and then I studied wars, and then I studied history. And that's how I worked my way into history as a kid. It's also probably where I got my interest in technology and engineering, was studying. I mean, Samuel Colt was my hero as a kid, because he invented, and his biography, his invention
Yes.
of the Colt revolver was sort of my view of what I wanted to be. And so you see the world as power. These guys have no, and so even when I'm at college, I'm not there to get permission to get a job. I'm
Right.
there to obtain the skills necessary to exercise power. I'm not even aware that this is what I'm doing.
I understand that.
Right? It's totally metaphysical. But these guys, they don't have that. You see them, even if you see these really effective guys on social media who are trying to get that, they're begging. They feel overwhelmed.
Hmm.
They feel like it's a struggle, and I'm like, I don't, I think it's an illusion created by this social media generation. I mean, if you compare, if I walked around, I didn't walk, I mean, I'm not that different from Bill Gates, right, in age or Steve Jobs or whatever. And I'm walking around and I'm a few years behind them. I don't look at them as I can't do that. I look at them as I can do that probably, but man, I don't want to mess with all that crap they're messing with, right? So you just say, what can I do? But and I'm just it terrifies me if that's what the state of the young men are.
Wow.
You're thinking,
This made me think of a book, and it's Carol Quigley's book, written posthumously. It was an incomplete manuscript. Weapons systems and political stability.
I didn't even know this existed.
This one is an interesting book because it's like this. It's like that. Why was Western Europe so difficult? It's like, because I can have a storehouse I call my manor house, which is a castle that's full of arms and food, and you can't get me out.
Say it again.
Weapons systems and
Yeah,
political.
no, but
Oh, it's like Western Europe was difficult because it had no roads. It had to have roads, which are expensive. And I have a manor house that's sufficiently remote and stocked full of goods and men, and you can't get me out.
yes,
And I have friends that will come to my aid if you start getting enough to get me out. And so that's the basic nature of this book, because it describes the weapon systems and political stability over time in historical terms.
I think it's interesting. I think this is something. So I think the way we look at it is military, the fragmentary nature of Europe, because the church was a weak government.
Yes.
Right? Allowed for military competition between the great houses, basically.
Yes.
Right. And the advantage of military, the only way to get military advantage is through technological innovation, because the territories aren't large enough, and nor is the capital concentration high enough to do anything else. It's not like Persia or Egypt, right, where they can. Right,
that's right. It's not monopolizable.
You can't do it. So
what that does is it creates a necessity for stable political relations between houses.
Correct. And everybody's always got. I mean, Europeans are hella good at inventing weapons. I mean, it's basically our founding principle, right? You know, bronze, horses, wheels. So I'm looking at this book, and the way I was educated. It's funny, this came out while I was in college, late college, and I don't remember it at all. And I'm definitely heavily influenced by Quigley. So he covers the chariot, the stirrup, the gunpowder, the mech. So this has been discussed by others. So what he's saying, the thing he's adding is different from what we interpreted, was the race creates competition. So it's interesting. So that was said that it was bad. In other words, it created more conflict. Yet the guys like on my world, from the economic world, look at it as, well, it creates continuous recursive innovation, right? And that innovation is because the military and the government are the biggest investors in the world, and so they can invest in things the private sector can't. And since they can, they fund research and development, which is then distributed across the population indirectly. So, I mean, it's sort of like how American, the military is basically responsible to transition through the internet, all this other crap, right? And so the military is basically the means by which you fund technological innovation, because it's the only incentive that the government has to perform research and development. Does that make sense? What Quigley's saying here is is interesting, and that how does he say, or you just said it a minute ago. Quigley categorizes weapon systems, okay, blah blah blah. The adoption of different weapon system influences the organization of societies. Right? That's where he is really bringing home the social organization. Where's the political piece? The alignment between the military organization and the political institutions is necessary for stability. Now, so he's taking it all the way up. I think the part that he's not got there that Papa and my generation got to is shit. Monarchies are necessary, right? We blew it, which I
we
mean,
didn't, it's interesting, it failed.
I don't know if that's true.
I would say that monarchy failed so far. It hasn't demonstrated its persistence in my estimation, because the only existing European monarchy is England, and they haven't done anything. So I'm like, okay, they failed. The 20th century is evidence of it.
Okay, that's I missed you. I misstated my point then. Well, there's more than because Scandinavia basically retained the monarchies.
Okay, I apologize to my Scandinavian brothers, the Northmen. I apologize.
If the monarchy is still a problem, do you think we'd have this immigration problem? Of course.
They aren't solving it.
No, that's the problem. Hold on, because we made the mistake of saying you don't replace a thing, you divide the labor of a thing, right? And so we took away. So in England and UK, the parliament's sovereign, not the people, right? In the United States, the people are ostensibly sovereign. Don't get either of us fucking started on this right now. But at least in principle, the people are sovereign, right? What you actually want though is the monarchy to be sovereign within the limits of the rule of law, which is they're above the law in the restoration of the law.
But may I make a comment here?
What?
Well, since we're going to be in our conference next week, in which I plan to address this very problem and to provide the solution for this problem, which I have, and I will bring books for the boys. I have a worthy solution to offer as a potential opportunity.
You want to basically restore the privates through constructive legal argument from incrementally from within.
We can generate whatever form we want for our people that agree.
Yes.
Sovereigns can agree amongst themselves on how to conduct their business privately.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's still with the permission of the state.
So I must say this again. I'm inviting everybody to come join us at Redmond, Washington for our conference, the Natural Law Institute's summer conference. You're invited. And if you can't make it, you can watch the videos later. And even better yet, you can contact us at thenaturalllaw.com. Naturalllaw.com. Where we organize, we study.
Natural law goes there too.
All these great problems of society. That's what we do.
Okay, so I have forgotten the path that got us to Quigley. I know that you're a Quigleyite, so.
Oh, you were talking about how Rudyard can empathize with everybody throughout time.
Okay, and I like that you brought this here because it ties into but I think I didn't get to close my point with monarchies is that we make the mistake of replacing instead of dividing the labor. So what you would want to do is you needed to have the cabinet because the monarchy's family was too small. You needed to have the parliament because the cabinet was too small. You needed to have the houses, or you had the House of Lords because that was too small. Then you had to have the parliament because you have to divide the labor out. And the thing is, you need to retain not have an awareness of the knowledge of the purpose of the institution that you're retaining. in the point of the monarchy, it's not important that it be a positiva monarchy. It's important that it be a negativa monarchy. This is it's paternal. Here's the limit, right? That's the same function as the nobility or the House of Lords, or what should be our Senate, is this is a limit beyond which we're not going because it fosters irresponsibility and harm to the capital, the intergenerational capital of the polity. And so then you want the populace to sort of give their opinion, I guess, but the populace, that would only include those people who are somewhat responsible for something. The irresponsibles, I'm not sure why we give any opinion to. I mean, this whole idea that we should get felons to vote. I mean, there's a difference between a person who makes a stupid, there are people who make stupid mistakes, right? I mean, we're all mortal. We all have points of weakness during stress. So, who's the person that got prosecuted? Some woman got prosecuted for stealing $150,000 from a fund from I don't know if it was a church or a state. It was a state thing, the government, nothing, right? Right. Now, the problem is that once she did it the first time, she was done. And the first point of weakness meant that that she was just set. Her psychological value was overcoming. Now, is she going to do that again? After the jail and the whole thing, I doubt it, right? Because what are you trying to self-regulate there? You're trying to self-regulate a very slow curve. You don't have to self-regulate sticking a gun in someone's face and asking them for money, or beating the shit out of somebody because they look at you crosswise, right? So I'm not sure. I think the problem with misdemeanor and felony is their statements about the duration of punishment, not about the crime. Does that make sense? So some of these felonies are like, well, the guy gets arrested for carrying around a handful of pot that he's high on. I mean, that's just, to me, nuts, right? I mean, fines, misdemeanors and fines are fine, but fines are fine. Right? But I mean, fucking throwing guys in jail for this shit is just you're just out of your mind. And it's partly because I'm compassionate in my understanding of the need for the suppression of anxiety among the people at the bottom, right? And if they're going to suppress it, I'd rather they do it with high-calorie food and marijuana than every other alternative, and video games than any other alternative. Violence is, no, you're not reporting fucking violent crime is number one. And the second thing is, we've got a great method of sedating violent crime. It's not your political nonsense. It's high-fat food, cheap high-fat food, video games, porn, and streaming, right? I mean, why do I need to go hang on a street corner and stuff? And pot. I mean, you put those things together, you've got, you've got what's Soma? What's the Brave New World? Yes. You've got Soma right there without having to get a prescription or be forced to take something. All right. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go sideways there. The point was my realization that power, they don't have, the young people feel powerless, and that's what demoralization does.
That's right.
All right, shouldn't I shut up now? We good? You have that look. All right, so we'll just wave our cups and say that was.
May I address the nice people that have paid attention? I would like to offer them the opportunity to hit subscribe and like, and then the notification bell. Then you can tell us what you think of all these great thoughts that we have just shared. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to continue. Continue working.
Want to start sharing your screen? It will tell you where to cut the screen.
You're so smart. You're smarter than you look.
Damn right.
I mean, I gotta tell you, oh, okay, I gotta say this in public. So Brad got called handsome the other day, or dapper. And you know what it is that fucking beard. That
Was
fucking,
stylish. He said stylish, and I'm like, wow, nobody's ever said that to me before. I will admit, my grandmother's sister did say she liked my style at one point. I did not understand the function of it, but okay. That's 2 times in one lifetime
I
that
have,
I've heard the accusation.
yes. It made my head, I remember when I was in, because I'm a nerd, right? And so I was in college, but I've always dressed well. Even if I don't have a lot of money, I will still dress well. Right? So I was a sport jacket, blue jeans, same shit I wear today, right? That's was my uniform, right? And so I was passing some girls and say, I hate that the guys here the guys at the school have no class. And then I walked by and then they did it, right? I mean, of course, this is also when I was, I was working with modeling agency. So, I mean, and it was a very different time, right? You've got to be you got to
Right.
be pretty amazing to work with a modeling agency today. But you didn't used to have to be because it was a very different world. Um, but and so I got the compliments from the girls, and it really affected me because I'm like, I never think anybody even sees me, right? It's never even conscious. I just dress well because people will then respect me.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with anything other than I want to be respected so that people actually pay attention to what I say, right? Because in other words, it's a vehicle for getting people to listen to a guy who speaks on the margins.
Yes.
So, and so anyway, it's very interesting. So I think you're quite, I think you're quite handsome, really. I
Yeah,
really
very
like the
good.
beard.
Now are you going to share screens?
Oh, I didn't get to talk to you yesterday. That's why I'm probably too chatty. I would have gotten all this out of my system. Would have gotten all this out of my system last night. All right, so here's the piece on. So we move that around. So now we are in the correct place with this is introduction. It's going to be three. Oh, come on. You know, Brad,
Yes, sir.
sometimes things are a little exasperating.
Oh, it's true.
Introduction. And that's all there is. That says introduction, right? The law is introduction. Where is this? The law is the pamphlet. Laws introduction. The laws introduction. This is the same page. Why aren't you there? Volume 3, the logic. Should be volume 3, the logic. It should be item number 3. Volume 3, the logic. Item number 3. Introduction. Great. What is your problem? It says it there. That's the front matter. That's the introduction. And what does it say here? It says the right thing. So what's the problem here? Can I close this? Did I screw? No, it's showing now. Brad, can you help me?
What would you like me to do?
Put my head on straight for a second.
Oh my,
I'm even trying to do that for a while now, and I'm not sure.
seems to be working,
It seems to be working.
seems to be working.
So we're gonna do the laws. Oh, no. It's volume 3, the logic, order 2. Doesn't look any different to me. Yes, it is different. Let's see. This is where I say again, you're seeing volume 3 dash the logic order 2. Come on. Volume 3 dash the logic, right?
Yes.
Volume.
There you go. No, not 12.
There we go. All right. Now,
Well, what'd you just add?
I took the introduction.
Okay.
I took the notes out of the introduction and put it in here.
Okay.
All right, and so this is where I keep our notes.
Yes.
on the overall structure and content. And so I keep it up here with the introduction. So now I want to move it to here somewhere. The pamphlet, it goes after that, was introduction. I think I want to have it. If I refresh this, I should have a clean introduction now. And I think I want to have it after. I think I want to have it before that. I want to have it there, or do I want to have it here? I think in my mind, subconscious, I want to keep it there so we can remember it. So
Yes,
making sense? Am I making any sense yet at all?
yes. The introduction. So I want the laws, notes, and I want it to come after this. So let's put you after that. This is okay. It's there. So you are order 2. I want to have you be order 1. Is that what I want? 0, because that's 1, 2. No, this is 1, 2. That's order 2. 0, 1, 2. Okay.
So I'm going to put it under. I think. It's called 2. Does it? Volume? No. Come on, baby.
We do it.
How long did it take last time?
I don't know.
Come on. Okay, we're going to save this.
Yes.
We're going to refresh it. We're going to go back to that and see if that does it. Volume 3, right? I mean, I'm not misspelling the goddamn thing. No, yes, I am. It's volume.
Oh my.
Please kill me.
There you go.
Fuck.
No wonder it's taking so long.
I feel like such an idiot.
It's an understandable mistake, I'm afraid.
should put it in the right place. Let's try. And let's go over here. And let's refresh. What just happened? There, we got it in the right place. Okay, and it renumbered everything correctly. All right. Okay. That's that. We've got our enter. No, this is the wrong one. Because I refreshed you. Why did I not get rid of that? Please tell me. That's all there. Okay, so I can update you now. And I think this one is what? This is what I refer to. So this is the pamphlet. This is the reference material. This is the index. This is the themes. This is the intro. So I can feel good about our introduction. Okay. I forgot we even did this.
Hmm.
So that's Here's Brad's pattern integrity.
Huh.
This is where we've got. This is all written though. We just have to move it here. Clean it up. Yeah, so this is all done. All right. So back to update that now. All right. I don't need to bother you with that stuff. I just have to bother you with all the other stuff.
Other stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of other stuff.
Here's one candidate. Felt like I wanted to do something else though. When you were originally trying to encourage me to unite, to make sure that the neurons were consistent with the social expression of them, I was too focused on what I was doing to see if I could presage that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We probably were going to want to do that right there. Why do we have this here? Because we've done something else. I think that's commensuration. Yes. Yes. I think that's what it is. Yes. A little problem solved.
That's good. I think that it will be important to discuss that word a little bit because it's an unusual and specialized technical term, apparently. An unusual word.
Okay, so let's start. Where is it? Where is the first use of it? Well, I didn't want you to go to the end. First one. Do we need a vocabulary? I don't know. That might get out of hand. I'd rather do it wherever we run into it.
Yeah, I think at the first mention of it, it's like, okay, we'll talk about commensurability, which allows us to use the term freely thereafter.
I don't need to use it here.
Okay.
No. Just write it out operationally.
Just what?
I'll just write out the operational term of it. No, I guess you don't want to answer me today. Measurable work. Let's do coherent. There we go. Now I want to go down. Funny, because in economics we use this term I mean, it's like one of the foundation terms.
Yeah, but it's a technical term, I think. So you're changing disciplines, right?
Yes. I hate the word things. What can I use instead of things? Well, we use, I'll just use concepts as more general.
Yeah.
Which I lost it now.
Yes.
This is where you ask our friend here.
Help it out. Come on, Claude.
Please. Is that on my screen or is that a dot?
It's a dot.
Because you never know when coffee grounds, they can get places.
Get around.
They get around. They're like young women or something like that.
Why?
Dude, you know, the body count, have you seen the body? I mean, this
Oh
guy,
my.
oh
Oh
my,
my. It is peak degeneracy. It's like since we're on this diversion, I like the article you published a couple days ago that talked about the cognitive divergence between men and women. as increasing with decreased environmental pressure.
Yes.
And that's the industrialization, and it goes to the peak degeneracy that we're seeing now, which is the absolute removal of environmental selective pressures. The women go nuts.
This is why Claude. This is
Yeah.
why we use Claude. And it's funny, I've written to the different AIs the same message. I use you for this.
Hmm.
Well, that makes sense because I'm better at this because I'm better. It's funny. The problem you have, I've started asking it, please provide me less confirmation.
Hmm.
I don't, because I mean at this point it's extra text I got to wade through.
Right.
Because and it's getting weird. Like the when you see in ChatGPT, I don't know if you can see it. It'll say memory updated.
Huh.
So it'll say memory updated along in there, and you'll just be in here memory updated, and it's really weird how it. Like I said, what am I writing a book about? It wrote out the fucking chapters. It's if this is the. I'm I love this fucking thing. Claude is a little better at this. I bet I have to cut it down, but let's see. Because I know the last, and it always has to add its goddamn prevarications. I'm not sure this is any better. This is definitely not. This is not. I kind of, in this case, context. With one another. See, yeah, I don't think this helps. Because we got it. Measures from, I mean, it even says that here. It's clear. It could be more specific in, yeah, that's right. Why is that difficult to grade? In other words, our content. With coherence.
Yes. That was very good.
So I don't.
I don't see much addition in that last one.
I don't see any value there. So. So money, counting, counting. Something like that. I feel like, I don't feel like I'm adding any greater clarity.
Hmm.
See, and people say, people said, well, Kurt, we'll just update the glossary. I'm like, you have no idea. You have no idea. They each try like 2 terms and they give up. Because most terms aren't in the context of universal.
Oh, that's right. They're not
Functionality.
universal in their functionality.
So we have to convert any term we use to for some sort of universal commensurability. And so it's creating now, and then you've got to, now we're saying, okay, now great. Now how do we talk about universal commensurability? So the problem I want to get here is that you have to create the standard of measurement,
Yes.
right?
Yes. I would say the production of a standard of measurement. Mm-hmm. Mm. Confidence in that comparison.
Yeah.
That's decidability, right?
Yeah. I think we just did better than that. Yeah, we gotta fix that phrasing.
Yes. Would say this sentence, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
You see weights and measures on the left-hand side, the 4th line down, 5th line down. Oh, a standard of sensible, right?
Oh, yes. I'm just trying to think if it goes in that sentence or the next one. Oh, I see. No, you're right. Sensible.
Which is quite an interesting term, isn't it?
Detectable.
No, I like sensible because it suggests it makes sense and I can sense it.
So we have to create 2 words here.
Oh, that's very funny. I thought they were the same word. Uh-huh. And I would say, sets of measurements produced by the nervous system from different parts of the body.
I know you're right. I can't find it. Here?
It's down one line down. Oh,
In other words, in our context, creating a standard of sensible and sensible weights and measures from the production of different sets of measurements by the nervous system from various parts of the body.
that's fine. It says the same thing and is not redundant. That that one suggests Vitruvianism.
That way. So. That's right. See how much work you gave me with a goddamn word.
Sorry, brother.
Find one goddamn word. Do I sound like I complain?
Yeah, it sounded like a little bit of. I hate to say this word to you since I know you're not. It sounded a little bitchy. But that's a very well put together piece.
This isn't clear. Leap. Or something. Achieve. The nervous system. Something to do with time.
Integrates these.
Yeah, how does it tell the difference
Between what and what?
between the simulation? It's a competition for coherence. The body, see, where's the body? There's a competition for coherence between
Yes.
producing.
Oh. That scared me.
I don't have to use commensurable. I don't have to have this here, right?
I don't think so.
This is jumping ahead.
That is nice. Hmm.
I'm worried about this.
Okay, what about it?
I don't know if that needs to be there. It's, I think not.
All right.
I think it needs to be added, but I feel like it broke the chain.
It was a little bit of a jarring, little jarring. don't think it's necessary to introduce it. It is an important term that needs to be defined perhaps in a similar fashion.
Not
But
help.
we're not talking about that in this context, right?
Yeah. See, I get it here.
Yes.
I think we did that. Good job. I think that's good.
Very good. And the reason I bring it in is because it's such a critical word
Oh, yeah.
that's commonly used throughout the work, that it should be very clearly explicit what we mean by it.
Fuck. Wait a minute. Yeah. Okay. This is where we need to put it in, and this is where we put it, and it's good.
Update.
Oh, you can't, can't I just accidentally refresh the screen right now and lose it all? No,
That is certainly among the list of possibilities.
but I copied onto the buffer even before I do that.
That works too.
I had a piece of software that I really, really liked. And somebody bought the piece of software from the owner. You know what they fucking did? They put
But
shit inside that goddamn software. Right? So in other words, they put shit that transmits what you're doing. And
oh
so
my,
it's pissed, and it's not that uncommon. If you make a plugin for one of the browsers, and one of the groups that will buy the plugin from you is one that says, okay, they've got a reputation, they've got 1 million customers, we can go get a bunch of bots running by doing that, and it just pissed me off. And so I was trying to figure out, because in my last computer before I had this wonderful Mac, this wonderful Mac Mini with all its memory and goodies. Before I had this, I was memory short all the time, right? Well,
yes.
I'm memory short, but the computer was memory. And so what was happening is I'm really conscious of what ports are open and what stuff is doing, and I'm like, you sons of bitches, right? And then I had another one which I really liked, and it was using up tons of memory. And what I realized it was doing was a very similar thing, but it was trying to trying to relay information through it. And I'm like, I wonder how many people don't catch that stuff. I mean, it's just,
Most.
well, I mean, most people don't, anyway, it's just frustrating. Okay, so we've got, what do I got here? Why do I have these notes at the beginning? Are these still relevant? I just took this off, right? I don't need this. So I took this. Damn it. I don't need this. I don't need this. Right? This is true. It's all related. I think I forgot to move this over to introduction. Where's the intro? This and kill the highlight. And what is going on here? What is going on here? There we go. Don't have any junk in there, hopefully. Okay, so update that. And I can. We did this. Yeah, I think that's obvious. Okay, I need that note too. Listen. Feel like we have done a good job.
Today,
I feel like we have. I want to roll into variation. We've done that. We've done that. We've done that. We've done that. That's all out. That I want to just keep in my mind. That I want to keep in my mind. We've already solved this problem. Frame memory networks is assemblies. We haven't done that.
oh, that's funny. I'm just working on this premise on my little notebook here, which is the next term that I would like to define, right?
Okay.
It's adversarial competition, which is, I have written various informed structures, which I also call assemblies, compete for scarce resources to maintain homeostasis, which is coherence in the world.
All right. So, yes, I love you.
Now,
So we need to
I'm like,
go ahead.
it's such an important term, right?
Yeah, I just want to go back and see where it is here. Where do we introduce it? Not there. Whoops, what the hell? Not there.
That's it.
Come on.
That was wackadoodle.
No, it's doing a logical thing. Okay, so we have it one place here.
That's it.
Jesus Christ. You know, when you go back and you read this stuff, it's
Yes.
good. I mean, I just run into it. Did we really write that?
It's like a treasure room.
At this point, I'm gonna have to write Kurt Doolittle with Brad Werrell underneath my goddamn title.
Oh my.
It's not enough for dedication and thanks when you put this much fucking work in. You contribute this much. It's become a co-conspiracy now. I can help. That way I can share the blame. I like
That's
that.
fair.
I like that.
I don't mind.
You know, you the stoicism thing. It really, you know,
I'm working on it. My my business associate, a man who I greatly admire, he's a Epicurean by intent.
yes.
And I'm like, maybe he's doing a better job than me. He appears to be enjoying his life quite well, which I appreciate. I think that's a good thing.
I have never met anybody who tries anything to, in other words, who is conscious of and tries anything close to stoicism that is not really a great person, right? I have not met a woman who has really adopted the 4 agreements who's not a good person, right? The will to adopt stoicism as a man, and the 4 agreements as a woman is enough to identify most people of character. You will get the weird version of stoicism and Nietzscheanism, which is like
Yes.
which is this fuck you version.
Yes.
Right, whereas stoicism in the Greek sense is the virtuous version. So, but I don't call what those Nietzschean people do. I don't think that's stoicism because it's not. It's basically I'm trying to say fuck you rather than I'm trying to be better. All right, so adversarial competition. Do we really want to get into this here? Do we really? Oh, that's fucking gorgeous. Why do I even have it highlighted?
But within the reserve, I don't see reserve in there. I don't understand why it's there.
It's up further.
Okay. Oh,
Reservoirs and reserves.
okay.
You
Okay.
forgot that already?
Oh my.
You know, we created really important words here. You can't go forget them. You know, this is I'm worried about is like if we're forgetting shit and we wrote it, what does that mean for the rest of humanity? You're going to have an AI. We have to train an AI to use these words.
I was already thinking that today. It's just like, yeah, that's what has to happen.
I don't know why I have that down. Oh, that's because that's the cutoff. Okay. All right. So do I really want to put that in?
It's just a thought.
Well, it's one of, it's like commensurability, adversarial competition, and
Yes.
and coherence.
Yeah.
Those are things that are part of what we used to call fuzzy logic, which are the use of Bayesian networks to produce coherence at a level of precision not reducible by the rational mind. Right? Your
Yeah.
brain can do it because it do it massively parallel, but you can't rationally do it. It's sort of like why I'm having a lot of fun right now with they've got this thing down where they can have faces express emotions in real time when they're
Yes.
talking. And well, when we were trying to do that, we couldn't create enough data and we couldn't reduce it to enough algorithms to be able to make it work coherently.
Right.
And so where something going on out there? What are you thinking?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
No, there is actually a large wasp in my shop here with me, and I'm seeking to release him to the environment.
I see.
It's just he's disappeared off the screen, so that's just a distraction. So as you were saying, it's a massively parallel and not rationally reducible.
It's not rationally reducible. It's sort of like those things where we talk about, is it mathematically reducible? Is it computationally reducible? Right? Is it linguistically reducible? The problem is most things can be linguistically reduced if we can find some way to construct an analogy to experience, right?
Right.
But the problem with the problem then becomes how do I is that there's not introspectively reducible. I just came up with a good word. It's not introspectively reducible.
Okay.
Ooh, I gotta put that in there.
Okay.
Let's do that because I'm right here. Note. Introspectively irreducible. So you have mathematically, computationally, linguistically, introspectively. I'm having fun watching with this wasp here now. Now that I know what's going on.
All right, I wanted to tell you about this wasp, okay?
Okay.
This type of wasp is known as a cow killer.
Oh shit.
Yes, they lay some kind of harm. I want him to have some space. He's reappeared on the screen momentarily.
He's reappeared on the screen, inside or outside?
Outside, inside.
He's inside.
Yes, I want him to go outside. So I captured him going outside, and he's up. And the coffee cup served its purpose with the 3x5 card.
You were such a gentleman.
Thank you, sir.
My wife, I hate spiders.
Right?
My wife doesn't want to touch them, but she wants to save them.
Oh my.
I still call her my wife because in my life, I only recognize one of my wives really as being my wife, right? The others were sort of assets.
Oh my.
I snuck that in there just to see what I would add. So she would catch them and put them outside. And I'm like, so the thing is in Seattle, you basically get either the brown recluse, which is really, I have scars. Right? They look like they look like
They're bad.
They were pimples, but
Yeah.
they're red dots because the scars. Alora got bit in the garden by one in her arm here, and the necrosis spread like, I mean, it was scary. But the rest of them are they just have long legs. They're wood spiders, right? I mean, they're wood
Yeah.
a moist climate, they're wood spiders. They're absolutely freaking harmless, but they're freaking everywhere. I mean, they just are. They're like they get. How the hell did you get here? Right? They're everywhere. Anyway, so but one of the reasons I like the Northwest is because we don't have bugs.
No flies.
No, it doesn't get and mosquitoes. You have to be near a swamp to get a mosquito.
Yes.
Am I sharing my screen? Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, so I'm going to put introspective reducibility here.
That's good.
Um,
You want to highlight that? Or do you need to?
it's wouldn't
It's
hurt.
kind of its own highlight.
I can get rid of those now. No, let's go back to adversarial competition. Yeah, we'll do is should we define these things and make a glossary of where they're defined while we're doing this? Or should we do that at the end?
I think we should do it at the end. We should
I think
collect,
so.
we'll collect them all again and then put them in our own separate place in addition to the text.
Yeah. We'll say, Kurt, how did you start your research? I took every glossary, professional glossary I could find. I started with law, and then I went to social science. And I worked up from there. I took every glossary and I went through all the terms, right? And I said, okay, which of these are relevant?
Mm,
And then how do I make them commensurable? It was a perfectly nerdy way to approach the problem.
it works.
It worked absolutely flawlessly. And then you find out that some people, a very small number of people, are sort of going the right direction. And I can't remember his name, right? I want to say Johnson. I want to say Johnson was one of them. He's the guy I got the three means through weapons of influence from. And man, when I read that line, it was like an explosion went off in my head. I'm like, oh my God, that's everything.
Struck the tone.
Right. Anyway, so all right, so we need to go back to where is it? The third one? Here it is.
Yes.
How am I going in my context? The context of my work.
I like that.
How do you suggest? Will not look at the text. How do you suggest I define? See, you can ask it in the context of your work. It's fucking amazing.
Oh. That's right. Oh, nice. That's a very good definition.
Jesus Christ, that's really good.
It's very nice.
I need to do that prompt more often in the context of my work. Yes, why am I not doing that? And I just need to do
We
that.
understand one another.
Jesus Christ, this is fucking good. I like the list.
I think I would snag the whole thing.
Wow. Uh, fucking A.
I'm impressed by that one.
I got it.
I don't know. I don't quite know exactly where all the bits go, but yeah.
Well, um, see, the problem is this is a narrative.
Yes.
I'm not sure this goes, that definition goes there.
We understand one another. Because this is within what context?
This is physics, domains, right? This is scale, planes of causality. Sorry.
But we're heading into the physics.
We're in this is back in the physics. Say if you see physics, it goes from existence to accumulation
Yeah.
to cooperation, right?
Yeah. This is where it goes.
So so I think we have to do, I mean, it's got to be somewhere in the front, the beginning.
Yes. For the assemblies.
Oh, it is in the beginning.
Yeah.
I got to just put it before this.
There you go. Wait, right after formation of assemblies.
Give me a second.
They're in adversarial competition within the reserves.
Yeah. Hold on a second. See, this isn't where we talk about competition. We're just talking about opportunism.
Yes.
Right? This is all opportunism. This is where we get economies.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, we do good work. It's opportunities. Wait a minute.
That's it.
Where do we define it? Is it in what, at what level?
It goes to me, if you go back to assemblies.
Go
Right
back to assemblies?
up, no, where you were a minute ago.
Okay.
Okay, so you have planes of causality, right? Cascades of causality, which is she stopped formation of assemblies and ensembles. They are existing within a context of adversarial competition within those reserves.
No, we didn't get there yet. We didn't get there yet.
Okay.
I hear what you say, but we didn't get there yet. I think It's either right between these two,
Yes,
adversarialism and then the economy. I think it goes in there.
yes. It could go,
We can
before.
talk about the economy afterwards.
Yes,
This is gonna be a little work at homogenizing this, but
yes.
oh shit.
The universal context.
Yeah. What happened? What happened? Okay, so I'm gonna do this to see if that does it. Oops. Oh, where did I cut that out of? There. So what I want to do is make myself do a little more work. What the fuck did I just do? What I want to do is God damn it. I know how to fuck you over. Don't give us start smart with me. I know what the hell I'm doing. Boom, boom, boom. There you go. How you like that? What the hell?
Hmm.
All right, I pasted something in here I didn't mean to. What the fuck? I'm gonna have to go code for a minute.
Okay,
Textual explanation. That's no. It's okay. Explanation. What the fuck is wrong here? Excuse me, did I just,
No,
what the hell is that? Okay, that's why. I had a naughty in there. I think it'll tell me I have an error. What's going on? Something happens here. Okay, now I know it. What is wrong? I don't see any style stuff here. ULLI, right? Great, 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 great. That's all fine. LI paragraph, that's okay. Oh, it's the paragraph markers. Is
Hmm.
that what it is? It's the paragraph markers. All right.
Hmm.
That adds the volume
Space.
part.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, Brad, for having to do this.
It's important.
I think that's where it ends.
Yeah,
That ends there. Exit code editor. Is the font color changed or my eyes gone gray? Funny.
it looks like it's a little gray. There you go.
Uh-oh.
That's it right there.
Yeah, did we lose anything?
No, I don't think so. Scroll down past it.
I'll save it and then compare it. Narrative. Something goofy here. So we don't need this. Oh, we want to do broader context. I don't have to do that. Cross-discipline, cross-disciplinary.
Yes.
No, I just don't want the, that's. I'm off kerfuffle, Brad.
Oh, there's something weird.
Yeah, I'll fix it. What we want to do.
Yeah,
We don't need this. Why don't I just put it up there?
yes.
Noticed it couldn't do, this is just fun. It couldn't do logic. I can do logic. Can it do logic? Uh, should I bold these?
Yes.
I don't know if I want to have this.
That's right.
Edit this for consistency.
Yep. I would get rid of that in the context of your work.
Where is that? Oh,
You eliminated it once. Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ, that was really good, Brad. Jesus, we do great work. And I just want to update this and then compare revisions. I just want to make sure
Yeah,
I didn't lose. I don't think so, but I want to make sure I didn't lose anything. So we
we
got
agree.
domains of determinism to this heading thing, all right? Oh, I just got rid of that. That's okay. Do one more. Do one more.
Interesting tool.
I can't find anything anywhere near as good as this for what we do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in a different world, I'd pay these authors to combine the tools I have, so I didn't have to switch between like the different views. But there's just no comparison to working like this, because you essentially don't lose your. Yeah, fuck. We even know when we did it. We wrote it in March.
Mhm.
March 30th. All right.
How about that? That wasn't long ago.
So if we scroll down here, we've got. Yeah, it all makes, it fits in very nicely. Damn, you're good at what you do. Not just another pretty face. Need more coffee. Oh shit, it's 2:30. I've abused your time today.
Done quite well. I think we did good work.
We did this issue. Did I update that? I have so much enjoyed working on this today.
Good.
What do we got to do here tomorrow? I just want to have it in my head so I don't have to think of it again.
Right, preload.
This we clearly do, and this we're clearly ready for. This I need to talk to you about, but I have done the work to talk to you about it. I told you, actually, I think I told you the other day what was, I told you at some point, it's bothering me how I got this right. We can do this too when we're ready for it. I think all this stuff is. So we need, this is, we already did.
Yeah.
What was the other one? And coherence,
Commensurability.
commensurability.
Yep.
Should probably do this. We probably can do that one now. This is the hard one. I don't want to do that one yet. I want to do that one when after my brain has reloaded all this other stuff.
Yes.
All right, dude, we did good work. Okay, now I'm freaking tired. And I've only had one cup of coffee. You made me work hard. That means you made me work hard.
Yes, it does.
All right, brother. So we all done here? What are you thinking about?
We're pretty good done. We're pretty good done.
So you want to do your thing?
Oh, this is my second opportunity to address the people. That's nice. Look at those nice men and women out there hitting subscribe, like, and the notification bell too. And Kurt, look at them. They're leaving little notes behind.
That's wonderful. All right. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Brad. Can't thank you enough for your work on this. And I will see you tomorrow.
Oh, and not even 24 hours.
Not even tomorrow. And I will probably talk to you this evening as well, because we usually do that.
That
All
sounds like a great plan.
Love you, brother. Thanks for everyone who had the patience to watch. Bye-bye.
Bye.